Do you have credit card debt? You are not alone. As of the third quarter of last year, the total amount of credit card balances in the US was $1.17 trillion. That is a lot of credit card debt. You do not have to be a part of that statistic any longer. I'm going to show you the fastest and, most importantly, cheapest way to get out of credit card debt once and for all. Credit card debt is what I call toxic debt. That's because it uses compound interest. You end up paying interest on top of interest. It's evil, really. Now, if you use a balance transfer credit card, you can get out of credit card debt and pay zero interest. A balance transfer credit card lets you transfer your debt from one or more credit cards to a balance transfer card, and then you make monthly payments on that balance on your new balance transfer credit card. How much can you save? Well, it depends on how much debt you have, but you can save quite a bit. For an example, let's say that you have $10,000 in debt on a credit card. Your APR interest rate is 24%, which sadly is about the average right now. You spend 21 months paying off this $10,000 debt. The amount of interest that you pay during that time is $2,345. Wow, that is huge. It's a huge amount of money. Let's say now you switch all of that debt to a balance transfer credit card with a 0% intro APR. The intro period is for 21 months. So you spend 21 months paying off the same amount at 0% interest, and you end up saving $2,045. There is almost always a transfer fee with a balance transfer credit card. And I'm using 3% in this example because that's what I see most often. But I have seen them as high as 5%. So you need to be sure you understand all the terms and conditions for your balance transfer. But just look at the savings, over $2,000. Next, I'm going to show you how the process works. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by how easy it is to do a balance transfer. So what kind of credit score do you need to get approved for a balance transfer credit card? The issuers always advertise usually good to great in terms of your FICO score. I've also seen a lot of articles online and videos saying, oh, you only need a 670 to get a balance transfer credit card. That is highly unlikely. You might be able to get a balance transfer credit card with a 670, but probably not a 0% APR. You might get an interest rate that's lower than what you have right now, which would certainly be an improvement. But a 0% APR on a balance transfer card requires a little bit higher of a FICO score. I think it's possible with a 720, depending on what else is in your credit report. If it's strong, you've got a strong credit history, you make payments on time. So it becomes sort of an individual thing after a certain point in terms of what your FICO score needs to be for you to get approved. If you've got a 740, that is considered a very good FICO score, and your chances are very good. Once you get up to 760, it's a no-brainer. You should get approved for that. So what happens if you don't have that credit score that you're going to need to get this very cheap way to get out of credit card debt? Well, if you're close, you can spend a month or two or maybe even 3 working on increasing your credit score. If you just start paying down your debt, you're going to see a positive improvement with your credit score. Once you get your credit card balance down below 30%, you will start to see your credit score rise a little bit. You can also ask for an increase in credit limit, and that can raise your credit score. So be patient if you don't have exactly what it takes to get the 0% APR, but also consider a debt consolidation loan. And you won't get 0%, but you'll get much lower, most likely, than what you have on your credit card right now. So now let's talk about a couple of things that could go wrong if you're not really on top of things. It's not too bad as long as you pay attention. Many years ago, I wrote an article called How to Turn Your Balance Transfer into a Nightmare. There are a couple of things I want to point out to you so that you don't make these fatal mistakes, because I'm telling you, it will turn this into a bad situation for you. And I want you to take advantage of this opportunity and get out of debt and take back your life. I want you to stop using credit cards. Not just the balance transfer card. Don't put new purchases on that, but all of your credit cards. I've seen people use their new balance transfer card because they also say, oh, well, it's got a 0% APR for purchases too. No, that is a slippery slope to get into trouble. Before you know it, you can't make that monthly payment to pay off that 0% APR you have on the balance transfer amount. Don't use credit cards. Not any credit cards. And when you're out of debt, look at why this happened. How did you get into debt? It might have been a practical reason. You lost your job, you went through a divorce, something else happened, a home repair expense that was huge. Anything can happen. Life is messy. But if it was something else that shouldn't have happened, be sure that you set yourself up so it can't happen again. And I will say, and I say this in the nicest possible way, we're not all good at everything. I have things I'm not good at. And if credit cards is one of the things you're not good at, there is no shame in that. Just admit that, pay off your debt, and use other financial tools that work for you. But if you can use credit cards again, just be sure you've got a budget and you track your spending so that you can stay out of trouble. Another thing I want you to pay attention to is there is a deadline for initiating a balance transfer. This does not get mentioned often in articles, but it's one of those things in the fine print and the terms and conditions, and it ranges from about 4 weeks to several months. During this time, you have to initiate that transfer. If not, you lose the offer. And I want you to do that transfer just as soon as you can. Don't play around with this. It's a golden opportunity. And if you do get approved, take advantage of that. All right. There are a couple of credit cards that I do like for balance transfers, but there are many, many out there that also would fit the bill. Most of them are 18 months to 21 months. And so I'm going to suggest two that offer a 21-month. One of them is Wells Fargo Reflect credit card, and that is 0% APR for 21 months. The other one is Citi Simplicity, and that's also a card that offers 0% APR for 21 months. Another one I like, and this is a little different, it's only an 18-month intro period, but it's the Discover It cashback card. It has rewards. Don't be tempted to use this card to get rewards, even if there's a 0% purchase APR, and I think there might be, but you need to check because terms change often. But as of right now, it's an 18-month. And I mentioned this one, even though I would prefer the 21-month. But if you can get out of debt in 18 months, that's 3 months sooner that you have your life back, right? This can be a card that you can use later as a rewards credit card. But choose carefully. Get on websites that compare credit cards. My alma mater, U.S. News and World Report, does. They have a great layout there, ways to compare. So does NerdWallet, Bankrate, and Forbes. So get out there, do the research, and pick what's best for you. And by the way, I don't have any financial relationships with credit card issuers. I don't. So I am giving you my unbiased opinion, and I'm a consumer advocate for you. So I am not swayed by any type of profit from any of the cards here that I'm recommending. Thank you for joining me for this episode. We talked about a really cheap way to get out of credit card debt with a balance transfer credit card. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Whether you're listening to me on Spotify, Apple, or watching on YouTube, I really appreciate your sharing your time with me today. I look forward to seeing you next time.